Straight ahead on 12 News, a new way to finance a business.
Kickstarter has definitely filled the gap.
How it could help kickstart a Robbinsdale furniture store. Then, is the cold weather freezing the spring housing market?
We're significantly down as far as the number of properties we'd like to see.
But first, another milestone reached in what feels like a never-ending winter. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Johnson.
And I'm Alexandra Renslow. When it comes to the number of days below zero, the Twin Cities tied a record today that's been standing since 1978.
It's normal to drop below zero 24 days in a winter. This year, we've more than doubled that number.
I've been coming out here 15 years, and this is definitely the worst year out here.
There's so much snow, state climatologist Pete Boulay has to dig his way into his weather station in St. Paul. He's counted 53 days at zero or below. That's the most since 1978 and ties this winter for 5th place.
When you say, I remember a winter when I was a kid, well, this is that winter now. So, this is basically the worst winter we've had in 35 years. In terms of at or below zero temperatures, we had 53 as of today. Very few winters have had 50 or more at or below zero. Now, if you just add just below zero, then we're at 50. So in either way you slice it, it's a lot.
And a weather watcher in New Hope has recorded 59 days below zero this season, surpassing the winter of 1978 and 79. One positive note, the sun is as strong as it is in October, so eventually they tell us the sun can melt snow even if it's not above freezing. Well, the cold has left anglers with an icy predicament. Today's the deadline to remove fish houses, but some remain frozen to frozen lakes. We checked Medicine Lake in Plymouth today, and 2 still remain there. The DNR can seize or destroy ice houses left after Monday's deadline. The owners also could face a $125 fine. Downtown Robbinsdale has seen a resurgence in recent years as high-profile restaurants have sprouted up, turning West Broadway into a Twin Cities foodie destination. And now another small business is trying to contribute to that resurgence, but in order to accomplish that goal, they need the public's help. Delane Cleveland explains.
So this is in English credenza.
As the old saying goes, one man's trash
was probably produced mid-50s. Early 60s.
Is another man's treasure.
Now I'm bringing it back to its original state to where it should be.
Yet for Bill Kurth of Robbinsdale, that phrase isn't just a tired old cliche.
It's almost like a means of survival.
For 10 years, Bill and his wife Cara have collected furniture from the 50s and 60s.
It was stuff that we could find, that we could afford in thrift stores.
They've built a business refurbishing furniture, first selling it out of their garage, then buying space and gutting a building in downtown Robbinsdale for their business.
And then we got to the point where we got into the electrical and the mechanical and realized that everything needed to be redone, that essentially it wasn't even safe, the things that had been done prior to our occupancy in the building.
To achieve their goal, they've launched a Kickstarter campaign which gives them 30 days to raise $17,000. The money will help them complete the necessary work on the building's interior.
This is definitely a necessity for Kickstarter to work because without it, we'd probably be, a year out.
Experts say the idea of asking the public to fund such a project has become increasingly common as bank loans have become more difficult to receive.
Kickstarter has definitely filled the gap of a certain need for financing out there.
Alec Johnson, a business professor at St. Thomas, successfully funded his own Kickstarter project last year.
Kickstarter isn't a magic pill. It takes work, it takes planning, it takes effort, and it takes network.
This is just super exciting.
Bill and Cara hope they have what it takes to make their campaign successful. They have until March 28th to reach their goal.
This only works if we can get our community to, stand with us and do this with us.
In Robbinsdale, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
If Bill and Cara don't reach their $17,000 goal, they don't receive any of the money pledged to them. For more information on how to donate and what benefits donors receive, you can go to our website at 12.tv.
Today, a discussion on what's seen as another way to boost business, the proposed Bottineau light rail line. Current and future business owners met for the first time today with government officials to explore business opportunities along the planned route. However, the business owners learned their future hinges on what happens with the proposed Southwest Metro light rail line connecting Eden Prairie to Minneapolis. If that doesn't get built, the Bottineau line could be in jeopardy.
It's one hand watches over the other. So even though we don't have some of the problems, and Southwest had the problem, but in the end, it affects all of us.
The Southwest Light Rail Line has been hung up over a proposed route through the Minneapolis-Kenilworth Recreation Corridor.
March is Minnesota FoodShare Month, and local food shelves are asking for your help. CEAP, a nonprofit in Brooklyn Center, is working with churches and other groups to collect money and food. This is their biggest fundraiser of the year, and it'll keep their shelves stocked through the summer months. They want to remind people that money donations are just as important as food donations.
For every dollar we get, we can buy $5 worth of food from our food bank partners. So our leverage is really fantastic. So while we all enjoy contributing food and it's very much appreciated, those dollars are appreciated too, so we can get some of the basics we might not get during a food drive.
If you'd like to help CEAP with their efforts, you can go to our website, 12.tv, for more information. And clients at CEAP are no longer being handed a bag of groceries every month.
Employees at the food shelf say they now have a much better system in place, giving clients more control over what food they bring home. Reporter Cassie Bonstrom explains.
Take one glance at the CEAP food distribution area and you'll see some noticeable differences.
Got everybody excited.
There are still shelves, freezers, and refrigerators stocked with food. The big change is who picks it out. Instead of someone packing the food for you, families can now choose exactly what they want, just like at a real grocery store. In the frozen section alone, there are dozens of food items, and families can choose exactly what they know their family will eat.
We call it the market model. We think it is much more respectful to families.
The Brooklyn Center nonprofit switched to the new model a few weeks ago. So far, it's gotten rave reviews.
The clients that have come through are using words like joyful and gosh, you know, this is great.
It gives struggling clients and families a sense of pride to pick out their own food, says President Byron Lair.
Tomatoes, kidney beans.
They also take more ownership over what they make with it.
We also asked families, would you rather have a can of beef stew or would you rather have the ingredients and make it yourself? Every one of them said, we'd like to make it ourselves. We'd love the ingredients.
The amount of food families come away with, as well as the variety of food offered, is the same. But Lair says they're trying to empower families, and giving them a grocery store experience is one step closer to that goal.
We can't think of too much better to do for families than something like that.
In Brooklyn Center, Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
CEAP currently serves about 7,000 families a year, and while it's still adjusting to the new market model system, CEAP thinks it'll eventually allow it to serve even more people in need. Well, turned down by Brooklyn Park, FedEx is now moving forward with plans for a large sorting and distribution facility in Rogers. The Rogers City Council has approved a concept plan for a 300,000 square foot warehouse between I-94 and Brockton Lane. Within 5 years, FedEx expects to have more than 300 trucks coming and going there within a 24-hour period. Brooklyn Park turned down the FedEx proposal in the northern part of that city last year, saying the truck traffic was too much for the area. Our weather isn't the only thing that needs to thaw out. Up next, we talk with realtors about a frozen housing market.
And then a little bit later in sports, it's championship day at the state meet for a local boys swimming and diving team.
But first, a warm-up in sight. Tuesday, we could reach the 20s. An apartment project that has drawn resident concern is moving forward in New Hope. City Council recently approved plans for a 68-unit apartment building at 61st and West Broadway. Neighboring residents thought the Compass Point project was too large for the lot size. City Council thought those concerns were overblown and fills a need for higher-end apartments. The apartment building replaces several fourplexes and a former gas station. It may not feel like spring now, but this is the time of year when houses start going on the market and potential buyers start looking.
Last year, the housing market really picked up steam from the previous years. So what's the forecast this year? Here's a look in this week's Business Matters report.
It's very warm yet modern, kind of a classic look.
Home designer Jim Kiken has a new 4-bedroom, 4-bath home in Brooklyn Park that just went on the market.
I think it'll go pretty quick. Absolutely.
He's optimistic this home won't sit long.
I think there's a lot of pent-up energy there for folks that are looking to buy.
Typically, February and early March signal warmer temperatures, and potential buyers and sellers start feeling out the housing market.
They want to see what homes are on the market. They kind of pick out maybe a couple of ideals for themselves. If they say, yeah, there's a few out here that we would buy, then they usually will put their home on the market.
This year, the lingering cold may be freezing that process. In the metro, there's currently a 2.5-month supply of housing inventory for sale. In a balanced marketplace, there should be a 5-month supply.
Our shelf right now, you could say, if you were looking at retail, is we're coming into the Christmas season and our shelf is half empty, and we really need them full.
Still, Chris Galler, who represents realtors statewide, believes this will be a good year for the housing market, given the rebounding economy and relatively low interest rates.
We've got the extended space, living space outside with the 3-season screened-in porch and with the deck as well.
Jim Kiken knows the house he has on the market could be a hot commodity, especially with its wooded backyard view near the Rush Creek Trail. And when some warmer weather finally arrives, it's bound to get buyers and sellers outside and active in the market.
Hopefully in the next month or two, people will start to look at getting their house on the market.
The spring housing market often picks up with the annual Parade of Homes tour, and that tour is underway through the end of the month. It's a big test day for Osseo Junior High students. We'll explain coming up next.
But first in sports, Armstrong and Hopkins battle in the Section Boys basketball playoffs. John Jacobson has that and more in just a moment. Pretty good weekend when you come home with a championship trophy.
Not bad, right? Yeah, it's a great weekend for Whiteside swimming. Great season, really, for that team. Lake Conference teams usually fare pretty well at the state swim meet. Edina, Minnetonka, and Eden Prairie have all won state Class AA boys titles in recent years. Whiteside Trojans were hoping to take home a championship of their own this season. Highlights from the Class AA finals at the U of M. First race of the night, Whiteside's 200 medley relay team of Court Hansen, Kevin Stowe, Christopher Carlstrom, and Jack Kelly finished second to Eastridge. The Trojans' time, 1 minute 35.79 seconds. In diving, 2 Whiteside guys finish in the top 7. Eric Mitchell here placed 4th overall, while his teammate Caleb Zarnes finished 7th. Back to swimming, and a great kick down the stretch by Whiteside's Greg Arnold in the 100 freestyle, winning the race in 45.48 seconds. It's the Trojans' only first-place finish in the meet. 4 local swimmers were in the finals of the 100 breaststroke. Brenner Hohenstein of Maple Grove finishes first, just ahead of Hopkins' Corey Lau. Hohenstein sets a school record with a time of 57.08 seconds. Just the one first place for Wayzata, but several top 4 finishes, including a 3rd place showing here in the 400 free relay. The Trojans end the night as state Class AA team champions.
We put together a really good season, and we're in a really tough conference, and we kind of got all the work we needed to do through the year in, and I knew we were going to have a shot. I thought it was going to be close, but I knew we had a shot at it.
The combined Breck-Blake team finished 2nd in Class A behind St. Thomas Academy. Minnesota's top high school wrestlers took to the mat for state individual championships Saturday. Osseo's Carson Brolsma in the orange in the 145-pound Class 3A finals. Brolsma gets an escape in the 3rd period against Mark Voss of St. Michael Albertville to get within 3-2, but he can't get a takedown, and Voss holds on for the state title. Better news for Totino Grace's Lance Bennick in the Class 2A 195-pound championship. Bennick locks the cradle on Mitch Strufford of Foley for near fall points. He wins by technical fall and celebrates with a flip. It's his 3rd state championship, and he's only a junior. In the 3rd, 5th place matches, Jake Aller of Benilde St. Margaret's with the trip and upper body throw. He puts Anthony Jackson of Simley on his back in the 113-pound 3rd place match in 2A. Aller gets the fall midway through the 3rd period, and he takes 3rd place in his match. To Class 3A, Wayzata's Nick O'Brien in blue in the 132-pound fifth-place match. O'Brien gets a takedown on Grant Bolden of White Bear Lake on his way to a 9-3 win. Another Wayzata wrestler goes for fifth. Colin Sohn locks the cradle on Brian Tierney of Mound West Tonkin, a rematch of their Section 6 final. Sohn pins Tierney to place fifth in his weight class. Now to boys basketball, where former Lake and Classic Lake rivals Armstrong and Hopkins met up in the Section 6 4A semifinals at Chaska High School. Armstrong turnover leads to points for Hopkins early. Kamali Chambers ahead to John Warren for the layup, part of his 21-point afternoon. Armstrong, though, comes to play in the first half. Sean Burns denied. It's his own rebound, misses again, but then Ryan Casperson is there. And Armstrong is up 39-38 at halftime. Second half, and Jake Wright gets it to Amir Coffey for the three-pointer. Part of a 27-point night for Coffey. Hopkins starts to take over in this game. Coffey then will strip the dribbler here and recover the loose ball before sending it ahead to Noble Fonbele for the layup. He scores 21 in the game. Armstrong keeps battling Jerome Dixon to Casperson on the backdoor cut, but Hopkins wins 88-76. Coffey talked about the message from Coach Ken Novak Jr. at halftime.
He just told us we're okay. He knew it was going to be a good game, tough game, scrappy. He just told us to keep playing and keep getting defensive stops. And once you get on 4 or 5, that makes, when you get on the run.
And Alex and Mike, Hopkins will play Eden Prairie in the Section 6 4A championship game Wednesday night at Chaska High School.
Coming up. All right, thanks a lot, John. Still ahead, why Osseo Junior High students hope they won't sink or swim.
We'll be right back.
And finally, the day many students at Osseo Junior High have been waiting for.
Over the past 2 weeks, ninth grade students have been designing a cardboard boat using mathematics and physical models. The boat had to hold their team during a timed test run, and today was the day they got to test their design's seaworthiness.
And we give them the cardboard and the plastic. They've calculated the size of their boat that has to displace enough water to hold their group. And they make several paper models and test them, improving their design as they work through it. And then the final culmination is the cardboard boat, which they're going to test today in the pool.
Some of them working better than others. About 140 boats were tested today. Mullen said the idea started about 15 years ago, ironically, by having students build a bobsled out of cardboard. Look at that. Some of them were making it.
They did. Look good until
really
the end group.
That'll do it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Community Corner is coming up next. We'll see you back here tomorrow.